Beloveds, this morning is not just another morning. It is a doorway, silent, invisible, opening into your own being. The sun rises outside, but a far more miraculous sunrise possible within you. If you allow it, if you simply become still, you will feel a space, a vastness, a pure emptiness that is more alive than anything you have ever known. Emptiness is not something to fear. It is not a void, it is a womb. Out of this emptiness, all joy is born, all creativity, all love. When you awaken into emptiness, you awaken into your original nature, unburdened, untouched, utterly free. So this morning, let us not try to become something. Let us simply be. Let us relax into the gentle silence that is already here. In this silence, in this openness, in this emptiness, you will discover that nothing is missing and nothing can be added. You are whole. Let us begin our journey inward, awake, aware, and empty, like the clear sky. Emptiness is one of the most misunderstood experiences in human consciousness. The very word creates fear, because the mind thinks emptiness means losing something, missing something, becoming hollow or incomplete. But in truth, emptiness is the beginning of real freedom. What we usually call ourselves is a collection of borrowed ideas, memories, beliefs, and identities that we have gathered without awareness. We carry these layers like heavy clothing, and the mind clings to them because it has never known anything else. When we speak of emptiness, we are not speaking of a void that destroys you. We are speaking of a space that reveals you. It is the inner sky, vast, open, unbounded, hidden behind the clouds of your conditioning. To experience emptiness, one has to first become aware of how full they are. Full of noise, full of desires, full of plans, full of judgments. The mind is constantly occupied, constantly seeking to fill itself with something, because being empty feels dangerous. The ego survives by being occupied. It cannot exist in silence. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to dissolve. And that dissolution is what creates the fear. But if you allow this dissolution, even for a moment, you will feel a tremendous relief. Suddenly, the burden that you carried for so long without questioning begins to fade. In that space, in that lightness, you will taste a freedom that is not given by anyone and cannot be taken by anyone. Emptiness is the doorway because it is the only state in which you are not imprisoned by the mind. When you are empty, you are not pulled by the past and not pushed by the future. You are simply present, simply aware, simply here. In that presence, you discover a quiet joy that does not depend on conditions. You begin to realize that your true nature is not the thoughts that come and go, not the emotions that rise and fall, not the roles you play in society. These are all waves on the surface. Emptiness is the depth of the ocean where everything is still, pure, untouched. Entering this emptiness is not an act of doing. You cannot force it. You cannot achieve it through effort, because effort itself is another form of the mind. Emptiness happens when you relax, when you stop struggling, when you stop trying to be someone, when you sit silently, without goals, without expectations. The layers of your identity slowly begin to fall away. You will feel as if you are becoming transparent. Thoughts will come, but they will not stick. Emotions will pass, but they will not shake you. You become the watcher, the witness, a presence observing everything yet untouched by anything. This witnessing is the threshold of emptiness. Once you begin to taste this inner spaciousness, you will notice how your relationship with life transforms. Freedom is no longer an idea, it becomes your lived experience. You start responding to life instead of reacting to it. Reactions come from the mind, from conditioning, from old wounds. Responses come from emptiness, from clarity, from awareness. And when you respond from emptiness, you will see that your actions carry a different quality. More compassion, more patience, more understanding. You no longer act out of fear or insecurity, because emptiness leaves no room for fear. Fear needs a center, a me, that can be threatened. In emptiness, that center dissolves, and with it the fear. Living with emptiness does not make you detached from the world. It makes you more alive in it. You begin to enjoy everything without clinging to anything. You can love without holding. You can give without expecting. You can experience without becoming attached. Emptiness allows you to participate in life fully because nothing binds you. You are free from the compulsion to protect an identity or defend a belief. This freedom gives birth to creativity, spontaneity, and a deep sense of harmony with existence. As this emptiness grows within you, you will notice that even the most ordinary moments become extraordinary. A breath, a breeze, a simple sound. Everything appears more vivid, more luminous, because you are seeing it without the filters of the mind. Emptiness sharpens your perception. It opens your senses. It allows you to meet reality as it is, not as you imagine it to be. This meeting with reality is the essence of freedom, because freedom is not about escaping life. It is about seeing life clearly, without distortion, without the projections of the conditioned mind. Silence is not something that we create, it is something that we uncover. At the core of our being, beneath all the layers of thought and emotion, there exists a silence that is utterly natural, eternally present, and profoundly nourishing. This silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of disturbance. It is a stillness that remains untouched even when noises surround us. The mind is constantly trying to replace this natural silence with its own commentary, its own narratives, its own endless stream of inner chatter. But the silence is always there, waiting patiently like the sky behind the clouds. The clouds move, change shape, appear and disappear, but the sky remains unchanged. In the same way, silence remains untouched no matter what thoughts pass through the mind. From childhood onward, we are trained to live outwardly. We are encouraged to achieve, to compete, to speak, to express, to assert. But no one teaches us the beauty of simply being silent. We are taught how to fill ourselves with knowledge, with opinions, with ideas, but not how to empty ourselves long enough to experience the silent depth of our own presence. Because of this, silence feels unfamiliar to many people. It feels like a gap, a void, something uncomfortable. And yet this silence is the very foundation of our existence. Without silence, you cannot truly listen. Without silence, you cannot truly see. Without silence, you cannot truly know yourself. It is in silence that the truth reveals itself. It is in silence that life becomes clear, simple, and harmonious. When you sit quietly, without forcing anything, without trying to control the mind, you begin to sense this natural silence. At first, only glimpses will come. Moments when the mind pauses, even for a fraction of a second, and you feel a deep relaxation, a soft inner lightness. These small gaps are precious. They are windows into your real nature. The more you become aware of these gaps, the more they begin to expand. Slowly, the silence that was once only a moment becomes a minute, then several minutes, and eventually it becomes a background presence in your life. Even while you speak, even while you work, even while you move through the world, the silence remains underneath like an anchor, steady and calm. Silence is the natural state of being because it does not have to be created. It has always been there. What we call meditation is simply the art of returning to this natural state. The mind thinks meditation is an activity, something you do, but in truth, meditation is a returning, a remembering. It is the relaxation of effort, the letting go of the constant striving that keeps the mind restless. When you stop trying to reach somewhere, when you stop trying to become something, silence naturally rises from within, like a spring that was covered by stones. Remove the stones and the water flows on its own. The beauty of silence is that it is infinite. No matter how deeply you sink into it, there is always more. It has no boundaries, no limits. It is not personal. It does not belong to you. Rather, you belong to it. When you enter silence, you enter a space that is universal, a space that is shared by all existence. Every tree has its own silence, every river has its own silence, every mountain stands in perfect silent presence. When you sit still and become silent, you fall into harmony with everything around you. Suddenly the barriers between you and the world dissolve. You begin to feel connected, rooted, part of a larger whole. This sense of belonging does not arise from thought. It arises from deep inner silence. In this silence, your senses become sharper. You begin to hear sounds that you never noticed before. The subtle rustling of leaves, the distant hum of life, the rhythm of your own breath. You begin to see colors more vividly, as if your eyes have been washed clean. Your perception becomes fresh, immediate, unclouded by the commentary of the mind. Silence cleans the windows of awareness. It allows you to meet each moment directly, without the interference of memories or projections. Everything becomes new, alive, vibrant. Emotionally, silence is healing. When you allow yourself to rest in silence, suppressed emotions begin to rise and dissolve. Anger, fear, sadness, anxiety, these emotions feed on noise. They survive in the turbulence of thoughts, but silence exposes them, softens them, melts them. In silence you realize that emotions come and go, but you remain. Silence gives you the space to witness your inner world without getting entangled in it. This witnessing is liberating. It gives you clarity, strength, and a sense of inner balance. As silence deepens, it begins to shape your life. Your words become fewer but more meaningful. Your actions become slower but more deliberate. You stop rushing because you no longer feel the need to chase after something. Silence gives you a natural contentment, a quiet joy that arises from simply being. In this joy, you discover that nothing in the outer world can disturb you unless you allow it. Silence becomes your inner sanctuary, your home, your true nature. Letting go of inner clutter is one of the most profound transformations a human being can experience. The mind is like a room that has been filled over the years with objects, memories, emotions, beliefs, and impressions that we never examined. Most of what occupies this inner space was collected unconsciously, without awareness, simply absorbed from the world around us. We carry the opinions of others, the expectations of society, the wounds of the past, and the fears of the future. These accumulations form a heaviness that we take for granted, a weight we believe is part of who we are. But when you begin to look inward with clarity, you realize that much of this inner clutter is not yours at all. It is borrowed, imposed, inherited, or adopted out of habit. Letting go is not about losing anything valuable. It is about recognizing what never truly belonged to you in the first place. Inner clutter shows itself in many forms. Thoughts that repeat endlessly, emotions that linger long after their purpose is over, judgments that arise automatically. Any stories we tell ourselves about what life should be. These things occupy space within us, leaving very little room for presence, silence, or peace. The mind becomes like a crowded marketplace, noisy and chaotic. Even when the world outside is calm, the noise continues inside. This noise is the clutter. It is the constant mental activity that leaves no space for relaxation. Most people do not know how much inner clutter they carry because they have never experienced a mind that is empty, light, and open. Only when you begin to let go do you realize how deeply burdened you have been. Letting go is not a violent act. It is not a rejection or a suppression. It is a gentle releasing, a soft opening of the fingers that have been gripping memories and ideas for too long. Clutter persists because we cling to it. We believe that our thoughts define us, that our memories give us identity, that our emotions make us real. The truth is that you are the space in which these thoughts, memories, and emotions arise. You are not the clutter, you are the sky in which the clouds drift. Letting go begins with this understanding. It begins with the simple realization that you are the witness, not the content of the mind. When you watch your thoughts without attachment, they begin to lose their grip. When you observe your emotions without fear, they begin to dissolve. Awareness itself is the act of letting go. Much of the inner clutter comes from the past, memories that hurt, mistakes that haunt, moments that you revisit again and again without any benefit. These past experiences shape your behavior in the present because you have not allowed them to fade. You keep them alive through repetition. Letting go means allowing the past to rest. It means understanding that what has happened cannot be changed. Your relationship to it can. When you stop feeding old memories with attention, they slowly disintegrate. They become light, like dust floating away. The same is true of future worries. Anxiety is clutter projected forward. It is the mind creating imaginary scenarios and then reacting to them as if they were. Letting go of future fears means stepping into the present moment, realizing that the future is just a thought, nothing more. As inner clutter dissolves, something beautiful happens. Space appears. This space is not empty in a negative sense, it is alive, vibrant, full of potential. When the mind is not crowded, creativity flows naturally. Insights arise effortlessly. Decisions become clearer because there is no noise interfering with your intuition. You begin to act from awareness rather than from habit. This space allows you to breathe deeply, to feel your own presence, to connect with life in a way that feels fresh and immediate. The more clutter you release, the more spacious you become. This spaciousness is healing. It allows your nervous system to relax, your body to soften, your emotions to settle. Letting go also changes your relationships. When you are full of inner clutter, you interpret others through the lens of your own unresolved emotions. You react to people not as they are, but as your clutter makes you perceive them. Anger arises quickly, hurt lingers longer, misunderstandings grow easily. But when you clear your inner space, you see others more clearly. You respond rather than react. You become more patient, more compassionate, more flexible. Clutter creates rigidity. Spaciousness creates openness. The process of letting go is continuous. Inner clutter does not disappear all at once. It dissolves layer by layer as you become more aware of what you are carrying. The key is not to fight the clutter, but to observe it. In observation, in awareness, in gentle witnessing, the unnecessary begins to fall away on its own. What remains is your authentic self, light, free, unburdened. Letting go of inner clutter is not about becoming empty in a lifeless way. It is about becoming empty in a way that allows life to flow through you naturally, without obstruction, without resistance. Witnessing without judgment is one of the most transformative capacities a human being can awaken to. It is simple, yet deeply profound. The mind is conditioned to judge everything it encounters, every thought, every emotion, every person, every situation. Judgment is automatic, a habit formed through years of conditioning, education, social influence, and personal experience. Because of this constant judgment, we are rarely able to see life as it is. Instead, we see life through layers of interpretation, preference, fear, and expectation. Witnessing without judgment is the art of seeing purely, without the filters that distort reality. To witness means to observe with clarity, with openness. It means allowing whatever arises in your inner world to be there, without trying to change it, suppress it, analyze it, or label it. When a thought appears, you simply notice it. When an emotion surfaces, you feel its presence without calling it good or bad. When a sensation arises in the body, you allow it to be part of your experience without resistance. This kind of witnessing creates a space between you and the content of your mind. In that space, freedom begins. You are no longer entangled in the constant chatter. You become the silent awareness behind it. Judgment is rooted in the ego's need to categorize and control. The ego thrives on division, right and wrong, success and failure, pleasure and pain, me and not me. These divisions create conflict inside you. When you judge your thoughts, you create inner tension. When you judge your emotions, you suppress them or fight against them. When you judge yourself, you carry guilt, shame, or insecurity. Judgment keeps you trapped in a cycle of resistance. Witnessing breaks this cycle because witnessing is acceptance. It is not passive, it is deeply active in its openness. It is a clear seeing that dissolves the power of judgment. When you witness without judgment, you begin to understand the nature of your own mind. You see how thoughts arise on their own, without your invitation. You see how emotions move like waves, rising and falling. You see how sensations come and go. You realize that nothing is permanent, nothing is fixed. This recognition brings a great relaxation. The mind's contents stop feeling like a burden and become more like passing clouds. You stop identifying with every thought and emotion. Instead, you watch them as if watching a movie. This witnessing creates a distance, yet it is a loving distance, a compassionate distance. You are not avoiding your inner world, you are simply refusing to be controlled by it. As you deepen into witnessing, realize that judgment does not help you grow, it prevents growth. When you judge your anger as bad, you either suppress it or feel guilty about it. Both reactions keep the anger alive. But when you witness anger without judgment, you see it clearly. You feel its heat, its movement, its intensity, but you do not add a story to it. In that clear witnessing, the anger burns itself out. It exhausts its energy and dissolves. This is true of all emotions. They need your presence, not your judgment. They need your awareness, not your censorship. Witnessing without judgment also transforms how you relate to others. Most conflicts arise because we judge people based on our past experiences, beliefs, or expectations. We rarely see others as they are. We see them as our conditioned mind interprets them. When you observe others without judgment, you create space for understanding. You listen more deeply. You become more patient. You stop reacting from old wounds. Instead of projecting your fears onto others, you meet them with openness. This simple shift can heal relationships and create deeper connections. In witnessing without judgment, you also begin to experience moments of pure presence. These moments occur when you are completely aware without any mental commentary. You might be looking at a tree, listening to a sound, or simply breathing. In these moments, the mind becomes silent because judgment is absent. What remains is awareness, alive, vibrant, peaceful. This awareness is your true nature. It has always been there, but it was hidden behind layers of judgment. Witnessing without judgment is not a technique to be perfected, it is a way of being. It grows naturally as you practice simply observing your inner world. At first, judgments will still arise. That is natural. But with awareness, you will begin to see even those judgments as objects of observation. You will witness the judging mind itself. This is a powerful turning point, because the moment you witness the judgment, you are no longer inside it. The judgment loses its authority. Slowly, the habit of judging weakens and the habit of witnessing strengthens. As this witnessing deepens, you begin to live with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. You stop resisting life and start flowing with it. You stop clinging to thoughts and start resting in awareness. You stop fighting your emotions and start allowing them to pass. Witnessing without judgment opens the door to inner freedom because it reveals that you are not the mind. You are the spacious awareness in which the mind appears and disappears. Discovering fullness within emptiness seems contradictory to the logical mind, but it is one of the deepest truths of inner exploration. The mind thinks emptiness means something is missing, something is lacking, something is incomplete. But in the realm of consciousness, emptiness is not a deficiency. It is a doorway into an abundant, overflowing fullness. This fullness is not material, not emotional, not conceptual. It is a fullness of presence, of being, of awareness. When you become empty of the unnecessary, the essential reveals itself. When you drop the noise, the silence blossoms into a vibrant aliveness. The emptier you become of the false, the fuller you become of the real. The mind is always trying to fill itself with thoughts, plans, fears, desires, memories. It fears emptiness because emptiness threatens its identity. If the mind becomes empty, even for a moment, the ego feels it is disappearing. This fear prevents people from experiencing the fullness that lies beyond the mind's constant activity. When you sit silently and let go of all inner clutter, slowly a new quality begins to arise. This quality is subtle at first, like a faint glow. It cannot be forced or controlled. It emerges naturally when the mind relaxes. This inner fullness is not created by you, it is uncovered. It has always been there, but it was hidden behind layers of mental noise. When you touch this inner fullness, you feel a strange and beautiful sense of completeness. You are not seeking anything, not missing anything, not trying to become something. You simply are. This presence feels rich, abundant, whole. It is a fullness that does not depend on external achievements, relationships, or possessions. It is a fullness that arises from within, a fullness that exists simply because you exist. This experience is what mystics throughout history have pointed to when they talk about the inner treasure, the inner light, the inner kingdom. It is not something outside, it is the essence of your being. The paradox is that to experience this fullness, you must first embrace emptiness. Emptiness means letting go of everything that you think you are. Letting go of your stories, your beliefs, your expectations, your images, your masks. These things create a heaviness within you, a density that blocks the natural flow of life. When these layers begin to fall away, you feel lighter, clearer, more spacious. And in that spaciousness, a vibrant energy begins to arise. This energy is not excitement, it is not restlessness. It is a calm, steady, radiant presence. It is fullness. This fullness is quiet, but it is powerful. It does not shout, it hums. It does not explode, it spans gently, like the light of dawn spreading across the sky. You may suddenly notice a deep contentment that does not have any cause. Nothing special has happened outwardly, yet inwardly a soft joy fills you. This joy is not linked to pleasure, it is not fragile, it does not depend on circumstances. It is the joy of being alive, the joy of simply existing. This joy is the expression of inner fullness. As this fullness deepens, it changes the way you experience the world. You begin to see beauty more easily. You notice details you never noticed before. Colors appear more vivid, sounds become more resonant, and ordinary moments take on a luminous quality. When you are full inside, the world reflects that fullness. You are no longer searching for something outside to complete you. Instead, you bring your completeness into every interaction. This creates a profound shift in relationships. You stop needing others to validate you, fulfill you, or save you. You relate from fullness, not from lack. This allows love to become more pure, more giving, more unconditional. Fullness within emptiness also transforms your sense of purpose. Instead of chasing goals to fill an inner void, you act from inspiration and clarity. Your actions become more spontaneous and authentic. You no longer feel pressured by society's expectations because you are already full. You do not need success to feel worthy or approval to feel seen. This freedom allows you to explore life with curiosity and openness. You begin to live more creatively, more intuitively, more harmoniously. The experience of fullness within emptiness also brings a deep peace. This peace is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of inner stability. Even when difficulties arise, the fullness remains untouched. You feel anchored within yourself. The storms of life may shake the surface, but the depth stays calm. This peace comes from knowing that nothing outside can take away the fullness within. It is your true home, your center, your essence. As you continue to explore emptiness, the fullness reveals more layers. It becomes clearer, brighter, more expansive. It feels like an endless wellspring, constantly flowing but never exhausted. The more you allow emptiness, the more fullness arises. This paradox becomes a lived experience rather than a philosophical idea. You begin to understand that emptiness is not the opposite of fullness, it is the path to it. Emptiness clears the space, and fullness fills it with grace, presence, and awareness. Living each moment in pure awareness is not a discipline, not a technique, not a practice that you apply occasionally. It is a way of being, a state of inner clarity that begins to permeate every moment of your life. Awareness means being present, fully present, with whatever is happening within you and around you. It means not drifting into the past, not projecting yourself into the future, not becoming entangled in thoughts, emotions, or memories. Pure awareness is the simple, luminous experience of being here now, with totality, with openness, with sensitivity. When you live in pure awareness, you live in direct contact with life, without filters, without distortions. Most people live life half asleep. The body moves, the mouth speaks, the eyes look, but the mind is somewhere else. It is thinking about what happened yesterday, or worrying about what might happen tomorrow. Because of this constant mental wandering, people rarely experience the present moment. They miss the beauty unfolding right in front of them. They miss the subtle sensations in the body, the rhythm of the breath, the play of light and shadow, the fragrance in the air. Life is happening, but they are not here to witness it. Pure awareness brings you back to this moment, back to your breath, back to your senses, back to your own presence. To live each moment in pure awareness, you must learn to slow down internally. The world may continue at its pace, but inside you there is a softness, an unhurried quality. You begin to notice the small things, the texture of your thoughts, the sensations in your hands, the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. These simple observations anchor you in the present. They help you remain centered even when the mind tries to wander. Awareness does not stop thoughts, but it changes your relationship with them. Thoughts become appearances in the space of awareness, like birds flying across the sky. They do not define you, they do not control you. You simply watch them come and go. Pure awareness also brings a sense of inner spaciousness. When you are aware, you are not crowded by the noise of the mind. You are not overwhelmed by emotions. You create space for everything to be as it is. This spaciousness is deeply calming. It allows you to experience emotions without being consumed by them. Anger can arise and you see it clearly. Fear can surface and you watch it without panic. Joy can bloom and you enjoy it without clinging. Awareness gives you the freedom to feel without losing yourself in the feeling. It brings balance, harmony, and clarity. Living each moment in pure awareness transforms ordinary actions into moments of meditation. Walking becomes a meditation when you feel each step, the contact of your feet with the ground, the movement of your legs. Eating becomes a meditation when you taste each bite fully, without rushing. Listening becomes a meditation when you listen not only to the words, but to the silence between the words. Even breathing becomes a meditation when you feel the air entering and leaving your body. In pure awareness, nothing is mundane. Everything becomes sacred because everything is experienced with presence. Awareness also brings a profound intelligence. This intelligence is not acquired through learning. It arises naturally from clarity. When you are aware, you respond to life rather than react to it. Reactions come from unconsciousness, from old conditioning, from past wounds. Responses come from awareness, from a fresh perception of the moment. This responsiveness makes your actions more aligned, more compassionate, more authentic. You stop acting out of habit and start acting out of understanding. Awareness becomes your guide, your inner compass. As awareness deepens, you begin to experience a subtle joy that does not depend on external circumstances. This joy arises from the simple act of being present. It is not excitement, it is not stimulation. It is a quiet joy a gentle contentment that flows from within. Even in moments of difficulty, this joy remains like an undercurrent, supporting you, grounding you. Pure awareness connects you with the deeper dimension of life, a dimension that is peaceful, silent, still, yet incredibly alive. Living each moment in pure awareness also dissolves the sense of separation between you and the world. When you are fully present, you begin to feel interconnected with everything. You are not a separate observer, you are part of a vast, dynamic existence. You feel the life in the trees, the life in the wind, the life in the people around you. Awareness opens your heart, makes you more loving, more compassionate, more sensitive. You see yourself in others and others in yourself. This interconnectedness brings a profound sense of belonging. Over time, pure awareness becomes less of an effort and more of a natural state. It becomes the foundation on which your entire life rests. You move, speak, act, and even think from awareness. This does not mean you become passive, rather you become more alive, more awake, more present. Life becomes a dance, and awareness becomes the music guiding each step. When you live each moment in pure awareness, you discover the depth, beauty, and mystery of existence in every breath, every sound, every sensation.